All right, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. The second the words leave your mouth, you just wish you could snatch them back out of the air. We're going to get into the real reason that happens, and trust me, it's probably not what you're thinking.
So let's just start with this question, right? Why is common sense, especially when it comes to just dealing with other people, so surprisingly uncommon? I mean, we all basically know the rules of how to act, so why is it so hard to actually follow them?
I mean, think about this advice from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's been around forever. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. This is like day one stuff. It's social skills 101 that we all should have mastered by now.
But okay, that creates this huge paradox, right? If this advice is so mind-numbingly obvious, how on earth did a book explaining it sell 15 million copies? What are we all missing? Well, to figure that out, we've got to take a trip back in time to one of the wildest stories in the history of neuroscience.
Meet Phineas Gage. Back in 1848, this guy's a railroad foreman, and he has this absolutely insane 1 in a billion accident where a giant metal rod launches straight through his head. And the craziest part? He lived, and in doing so, he became an absolute legend.
But see, the truly wild part wasn't just that he survived. It's what happened to him. Before the accident, everyone described Gage as this super reliable, thoughtful guy. Afterwards, his personality did a complete 180. He was impulsive, he was profane, he couldn't hold down a job. That iron rod had basically scrambled a part of his frontal lobes, the part of our brain that acts as our social filter.
And that right there is the key. See, there are two different parts to being good with people. You've got social knowledge, that's known in the playbook, all of Dale Carnegie's rules, but then you have social execution, your brain's ability to actually run those plays in a real game. Phineas Gage still knew all the rules, he just lost the ability to follow them.
And that's what social intelligence really is. It isn't about memorizing rules from a book. It's about your brain's physical ability to execute on those rules, to make yourself do the right thing, especially when it's stressful or awkward or just plain hard.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You're in a fight, you know you should just stop talking, but you just can't help but get that last word in. Yeah, that's your frontal lobes having a little Phineas Gage moment and totally fumbling the bag.
So how do scientists actually test this stuff today? Well, let me tell you about this one brilliantly awkward experiment. So here's the setup. An experimenter from China says she's going to share her absolute favorite food with you. It's the national dish of her country. Now, the social rule here is super obvious. Just be polite, right? Then she pulls out the dish, and it's a cooked chicken foot. The real test is, can you keep a straight face?
Well, as you can probably guess, some people really couldn't. This is a real quote from a participant. His brain just hit the panic button and the words flew out before he could stop them. He knew the rule, but his brain's immediate gut reaction just completely took over.
And here's where it all clicks into place. The researchers also measured everyone's frontal lobe function. And guess what? The people with stronger frontal lobe function were way, way better at giving a polite, socially appropriate response. The ones with lower function, they were the ones who were more likely to just blurt out how grossed out they were.
Okay, but look, being socially smooth isn't just about playing defense. It's not just about stopping yourself from saying something stupid. You also have to play offense. You have to know how to say the right thing at the right moment. And that brings us to this other critical brain skill called reversal learning. A simpler way to think about it is your brain's ability to read the room. It's what allows you to pick up on subtle cues, realize the vibe is shifted, and then change your game plan on the fly. It's basically a social superpower.
Think about it like this. When couples argue, if one person is bad at reversal learning, they just keep pushing the same point over and over, completely missing that their partner is getting more and more upset. But someone who's good at it, they hear that subtle shift in tone, they see the change in body language, and they know to back off and keep things from blowing up.
So, scientists designed this other genius experiment. They put a group of friends in a room to solve a problem together. The twist? One of them was a secret saboteur, getting paid to make sure the group failed. The mission was to subtly screw things up, and then get away with it during a final interrogation. So who pulled it off? Well, the saboteurs who were good at reversal learning were way more likely to get away with it. Why? Because during the interrogation, they could read their friends' faces, see who was getting suspicious, and adjust their lies in real time. They were just flat out more believable.
But the most fascinating, most counterintuitive finding in all of this research
is what happens when you mix raw intelligence with this ability to read a room.
Let's call it the Sheldon Cooper effect. For people who were good at reading the room, the smarter they were, the more their friends saw them as charming and persuasive. It makes sense, right? They used their smarts effectively. But for people who were bad at reading the room, the smarter they were, the more annoying their friends found them. They were just using their big brains to frustrate and talk down to everyone around them.
And that's really the bottom line here. Just being smart isn't enough, not even close. Real social skill comes from having the capacity, that brain-based ability, to actually use your intelligence in a way that connects with people instead of just proving you're right.
So it all comes down to this. When you're out in the world, is your brain your ultimate wingman, helping you navigate every conversation with ease? Or is it sometimes your own worst enemy, setting you up to put your foot in your mouth? The answer, it turns out, is sitting right there in your frontal lobes. Thanks for tuning in.